I was prospecting in my prospecting station, South Lake, Texas, when the first plane hit the World Trade Center. Good morning, my friends. This is Kevin Ward, the founder of Yes Masters Real Estate Success Training, and it was 20 years ago today on 9/11/2001 that terrorists attacked America. And on that day, killed over 3,000 of us. And on that day, we were just Americans. And so today, as a coach, I'm asking myself, not only am I remembering that day, but I'm asking myself, what are the lessons? What are the lessons that we can learn about what happened on that day? And there's so many of them. And so I was thinking about what are the lessons that I want to talk about this morning, about what happened, what we can learn from it that directly affects you, your life. And this is not about politics. This is not about America. This is not about terrorism as we think of it. This is not about what just happened in Afghanistan. It's not about Al-Qaeda or Taliban or ISIS or any of that stuff. This is a message about how what happened on 9/11 happens in our lives every single day. And so I was just thinking of the lessons. And one of the lessons that I learned is this is what happens and what can happen when the enemy attacks us and we're not prepared. And again, I'm not talking about terrorism. I'm talking about your life. And that is how things attack us in our life, how things that cause us to lose in our life, that cause us harm, that cause us pain happen because we're not paying attention and we're not ready for it. And the fact that there is enemy, this is one of the brutal things, one of the brutal lessons we had learned, just to imagine that there are people out there that actually would like to kill you, would like nothing better to send a message by killing thousands of Americans. And we want to live in this idea that nobody's out there that really wants to hurt us, and if we just go along to get along and all of that. But you got to understand that just like in life, adversity is real, enemy is real. That there are things out there that want to hurt you. Now, it's not always, I'm not talking about necessarily that there's a conscious being or person or group that is trying to hurt you. That's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is inside of us, there are things that keep us from winning, that just cause harm to our lives. And they use a strategy called terrorism. Now, what is terrorism? Terrorism is the use of terror as a tool. You see, the cost on 9/11 was, in terms of human life, was over 3,000 Americans. But a greater cost was it made all of us afraid. And we were all afraid that day. For those of you that are, 35, 40, 45, that are old enough, and you remember clearly and vividly that day. And I remember prospecting. I was in South Lake, Texas. I'm 5 miles from Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And so you hear all day long the droning noise of airlines, planes taking off and landing. And you get used to it. There's always planes in the air when you're next to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And all of a sudden, you walked outside, and there was absolute stunning silence in the middle of a big city. No airplanes in the air, almost no cars on the road. It was just like, what is going on? And it was fear. It was this sense of uncertainty of what's going to happen next, and all of us were afraid. And there were so many things, little stories that popped up where people were misunderstanding or mishearing what's happening, and then they were spreading, like, I think this just happened, and all of a sudden there are people that think the local Sam's Club just got bombed. I mean, literally, there were stories like that going around because people were so afraid, and they were taking, and they would hear something and then all of a sudden share it with somebody else. Now here's the point, and here's the question, is how are you allowing terror to control your life? Because, my friend, for most people, fear is one of the most powerful emotions in our life. Uncertainty, guilt. We allow terror. We because of what we're afraid of. We choose to do things or not do things because of terror, because of fear. And whatever it is, wherever it is, whether it's small thinking or limiting beliefs or something someone else said, or fear, disapproval, or our own belief about ourselves, our own self-view, our self-image, because it's weak, we are in fear, and we walk around in our days, and it shows up as procrastination. It shows up as creative avoidance. It shows up as not keeping our words. When we say we're going to do something, we don't do it. We let people down. We let ourselves down. And so we end up walking around loaded up with guilt and anxiety and shame and fear and frustration and disappointment at ourselves. And the end result is we lose. One thing that happened out of 9/11 was America said we will not live our lives in fear. We will prepare ourselves. We will find the enemy and we will stop them. Now, where we are 20 years later is a different discussion. That's not the point of this discussion. The point of this discussion is where are you? Are you still allowing terrorists in your life, your personal terrorists, to control you with fear and guilt and anxiety and uncertainty and doubt? And here's my challenge. That, my friend, is your enemy. Whatever it is that is stopping you, whatever it is that is making you afraid, whatever it is that is making you go around feeling this nagging burden of guilt or inadequacy, that, my friend, is your enemy. And it is not a negotiation. It is a war. The enemy wins or you win, because the enemy will not negotiate. This enemy, your fear, the things that are making you afraid and feel inadequate and feel like a failure, the things that are stopping you, they're not going to stop stopping you unless you stop them. What is the enemy in your life? Attack it, destroy it. Now, this is what I do. I help real estate agents do that. I help them find the enemy and destroy it. So this is not a sales pitch, but I just thought of this. And so I am doing a 5-day challenge right now. It's called 5-Day Leads and Listings Challenge. It's $5 to join me for 5 days. And one of the things we do is we help you break through all the stuff that is stopping you. You can go to 5dayllc.com and join me. It's 5-day challenge. We start on Monday. Our next challenge starts on Monday, the 5-Day Leads and Listings Challenge, 5dayllc.com. Just go there if you like. If you think if you're thinking in your life right now, you're going like, you know what? I'm living in fear. I've got terrorism. I've got terrorists, personal terrorists that are stopping me. You want some help? We're going to break through that in the next 5 days. We can help you break out of that. But guys, today, as an American, remember those who lost their lives. Remember those who have given their lives since then fighting terrorism to help keep us free, to help us be able to live in peace and security, and determine that you're going to create that in your life.